Was is that anytime you have a sequence, okay, and your sequence results in a straight line, it means that your sequence is basically a linear sequence because it goes up by the same amount every time. So mostly you got a result something like this, and it was all perfect, okay? Doesn't need to go down to the origin because the first term, it starts at 1, so, and you drew the first 4 terms, so you should only have 4 dots, like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can just stop there. You don't even need to continue on. Now, you'll have terms that aren't, you'll get sequences that aren't linear. So an example would be, if I just move this across here, an example would be of a sequence that's not linear would be one like question 8. Perfect. Question 8. So I look at question 8 and I go Tn equals n cubed minus n. Okay, ready? Then I'm going to do T1, T2, okay? N squared, T3, T4. Right away, 1 cubed minus 1 squared, then 2 cubed minus 2 squared, then 3 cubed minus 3 squared, and then 4 cubed minus 4 squared. Now, there's a wee bit of calculating in that, isn't there? Now, there's a function on our calculator that does this for us. Does anybody remember how to use it?
Yeah, you go shift and then press
mode,
same thing.
mode table.
Oh no.
Okay, that's okay. Mode table. Now, instead of Tn, I have f of x, and instead of n, I'm going to use x. Now, instead of n, I'm going to use x. Okay. So what we have here is x squared. Now, where do I start? I start off at T1, and where do I end? 4. And what this does is it will do all the calculations for me in one go. Instead of doing 4 separate calculations, there's always the option of doing this as well. So 0, 4, what's it? 0, 4, 18, and 48. So 0, 4, 18, and 48. Now, the points I have to draw this are 1, 0. Everybody got that? 1 is 0. 2 is 4. The third term is 18, and the fourth term is 48. Now, that's pretty large on the scaling. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll just count up in 4s, or every 2 blocks is worth 8. So 8, 16, 24. This will get me the answer relatively quickly. 32, 40, 48. Because it's then what I can do next is 1, 0. Just space these out as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you notice that it doesn't have to be the same spacing on each axis? Like I chose to go up in each block is worth 4, technically speaking, on this axis here, isn't it? Because 2 blocks is worth 8. Therefore, see the 2 blocks there? 2 blocks is worth 8. Therefore, 1 block will be worth 4. Then on this line here, 3 blocks are worth 1. You're allowed to do that, provided it's the same on the x. Provided it's the x-axis and the y-axis do not have to be the same. That's what I'm basically getting at. You can do what you want, provided the spaces are the same on the axis. Okay, so every space is the same on the y-axis. X-axis has different spacing, but it's all the same throughout that line. Now, draw this out. It's not going to come out good. It's going to be very complicated drawn. It's going to be 1, 0, which is down here. Do it in green. It's going to be 2, 4, which is here. It's going to be 3, 18, which is 18. That's 18 is going to be in between 16 and 20. So halfway between 16 and 20 is around there. And then 4, 48 is all the way up here. Now you can see that this is like a steep part of a really steep curve. So we know that it's not a linear sequence, don't we? Because it doesn't go up in a straight line. Is that alright?
Does ever have to clarify that, or can you just?
You can just say it doesn't go up in a straight line.
You have to now.
The question asked me to draw them out. Doesn't go up in straight line. Sequence is not linear. Now, so if you reread the language of the question, and Mick was asked about the language of the question here, find the first 5 terms. Sorry, I was meant to find T5 as well, wasn't I? 5 cubed minus 5 squared is 100. So the next one would have been 5/100. I forgot to put that one in. You get the gist, though, don't you? That 5/100 is going to be somewhere up here, and you're just going to continue your line upwards. Is that alright? Now, it says, get the first 5 terms, show your results in the graph. I had to do the graph no matter what. Stay whether the graph is linear or not. It's not linear. Move on. Okay? So, questions after this, they love the sequence question mixed in with a graph. Like they overuse them big time, okay? So, if I was to draw these 2 graphs out, can anybody tell me what one is this jumping up in? Sequence A. How do we know it's jumping up in 2s, Dennis? Any idea why it's jumping up in 2s? This sequence here, sequence A? Go on, Sam, go for it. It got 2 in front of the n. So if T1 is what, guys? T1 is 2 times 1 plus 7, which is 9. Therefore, T2 is going to be 11. T3. This is what Mick was talking about the other day. Once you get you don't have to write down all the workings anymore because you've managed to see what the pattern is. What about sequence B, guys? Sequence B is going to go up in what? So T1 is 7 times 1 plus 2. 9. T1 is 9. T2? 16. Now, which one is going up higher, quicker? Is B or A going faster? Like, which one's rising quicker? B. And how you'd explain this is, this one has a slope of 2. This one has a slope of 2, but this one has a slope of 7. Okay? In which sequence will the terms increase more rapidly? Sequence B, because it has a bigger slope or bigger difference of 7. Verify your results by finding T1 and T5 of each sequence. T5 of this sequence is 17 and T5 of this sequence is 37. Why did he say T1 and T5 of each sequence? Why did he ask us the question in that way? Can anybody tell me? The T1s are the same, aren't they? Both T1s are 9. However, four spaces later on, this one's at 17, while this one's jumped up to 37. So what does that suggest? That the other one rises faster. Because by the 5th term in both sequences, one of them is at 37, the other one's at 17. Okay? Use your results from part 2 to sketch a graph. Now, what's the great thing about drawing lines? Do you need all the points or do you need 2 points to draw a line? The 2 of these are linear graphs. So therefore we only need 2 points to draw the graph. So to save yourself time, what you can do is you can just do your XY axis here. I'll do the first sequences. So we'll go this way here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My graph has to go as high as 37. I don't have 37 spaces here. So I'm going to do is go up in, I'm just going to say each one's worth 2. So every 2 blocks is worth 4. So this, by doing my graph like this, I save myself time in the test. I don't have to write down every number, but it's good enough that the examiner can understand which number is which. And then that's 36, and that's 40. Okay, so draw down 1, 9 for both of them starting off, isn't it? So 9 is in between, that's 8 and 10. I just marked out the point where 10 occurs. So in between 8 and 10 is 9. So that's going to be 9 right there. That's 1, 9. Does that make sense? And what about the last one? 5, 17. 5, 17. 17 is in between 16 and 18 there. So that's 5, 17 is there. So you can see that this graph, the graph that goes up by 2s, is sort of relatively shallow. However, the graph that goes all the way up to 537, anybody predict what way that goes? The one that goes up to 537 shoots up in this direction here. So you can see that the superior slope causes it to rise much faster. Everybody on board with that? Okay. So I won't spend too much longer. This one here is the same as this one here. Okay. So I'll just do 16. Don't go too much on. Okay. Now, this type of question, they absolutely love them in the Leaving Cert. They love these ones. These ones come up so regularly. Okay. They go, a yellow flower is 5 centimeters high in the beginning of the week and grew 2 centimeters each week afterwards. The red flower measured 8 centimeters high and at the beginning of the same week, but only grew 1.5 after each week. Calculate the heights of each plant for the first 5 weeks and plot your results on a graph. Okay? So here's what they want you to do. We call this yellow flower and red. Okay, so yellow and red. Okay? Yellow and red. T1, okay, and then T2, T3, T4, T5. Now here's the difficult thing, okay? We're going to let T1 be the height of the plant at the beginning. So what's the height of the plant at the very beginning? 5. And the other one? 8. Alright, keep adding on 2's. 7, 9, 11 and 13. Now, let me specify something, alright? So, you start off and then 1 week went by. After 1 week, what height was your plant? 7, not 5, it's 7. Okay, so after 1 week it's 7. After 2 weeks, 9. Grand. Once you get that into your head, that can cause confusion, okay? 9.5, 11, 12.5 and 14, okay? Now, are both graphs straight lines? How do you know both graphs are straight lines? The gap is the same, okay? So, if the gap is the same, it means I can draw 2 points. I can draw the point 1, 5, 5, 13 for the yellow plant. And then for the red plant, I can draw 1, 8 and 5 what, guys? 5, 14. Can anybody explain to me what does 5, 14 mean? David, what does 5, 14 mean in terms of this question? 5, 14 means that your 5th term, after your 5th term, it's 14 centimeters high. Yeah? But what do we say 5 means? That actually means after 4 weeks. Count down. 1 week it's 7, 2 weeks it's 9, 3 weeks it's 11. After the 4th week, it's 13, or this way, 14. So even though it says 5, 14, the 5 actually specifies after 4 weeks of growing, it's 14 centimeters high. Is that alright? Okay, after 4 weeks of growing. So, what you do next is you draw your graph, and also we have to do relatively easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Only has to go as far as 14. I can do that quite easy. 2, 4, 6. Do you know, as I never count up in ones. It just takes too damn long, okay? That's just smart. Now, 1, 5. We're here. 5, 13. We're here. And then 1, 8. We're here. And then, what's it? 5, 14 then, is it? 5, 14, so barely above it. Now, what can you say from the graph? I'll do different colours here. Yellow one is yellow plant, okay? So the yellow plant starts off at 1, 5 and goes up this way. And then we have the red plant that goes this direction here. Which one's growing faster? Is it obvious from the graph that the yellow's growing faster? Now, what happens next is if I continue this line further on, I will find the point at which the 2 plants become the same height. So if I keep continuing onwards, It's about out there, isn't it? Okay, so let me find out. That's 6, 7. Okay, now what we're going to do quickly is we're just going to keep counting down, okay? So, what height is this plant in the next one? This one's 6, 15 and a half. This one is 6, 15. And then that's going to be 7, 17 and 7, 17. 7, 17 should be the answer. So 7 here and roughly 17 here. Now, what does that tell you about how I drew the graph? I must have drew my graph ever so slightly wrong. So, although it's roughly right, what I must have done was I must have made a mistake somewhere. So, I'm going to draw this out again, but this time I'm going to pay a bit more closer attention to what I'm doing. What this basically shows you is that, well, I'm trying to get the gist of that, and they'll ask you this in the exam, they'll go, which is more accurate, algebra or drawing graphs? I'm just after proving the point, haven't I? Look how easy that was. 7, 17, 7, 17. After 7 days, they're both 17 centimeters high. But my graph, because I drew it ever so slightly wrong, didn't come out that way. So let's try this again. 1/8. And that 1/8 goes all the way up to, was it 5/13 at the time? 5/13 was there. And then it should go through 7/17. Wait. Oh, that's part of the reason why. Excuse me. 1/8 is here. Yep. You have to start really dead center, otherwise it doesn't come out. 5/14, excuse me. 5/14 is there. And then 7/17 should be around there. So you can see the errors coming in is that I'm not quite starting off completely perfect there. Okay, that's where my errors coming in. And then the second one, yellow, start off at 1/5 and then end at, what is it then? 1/5, and then it should be up there. Sorry? 7/17. I should be crossing there.
Your black one for 5 is on the wrong line.
Sorry?
Your black one for 5 is on the wrong line. Like your dog.
Ah. Lads, there it is there. Excuse me. I drew. See, it just shows you how easy this is to make, right? So 5/13. There. 5/14. Now look what happens. Just one little adjustment. And then second adjustment here. Just shows you how being one little space off can throw your full diagram. Now look at it. Can you imagine how good I'd be if I didn't have this software? That would be shocking up there, it would. Now, you can see that it hits at 7/17. Is that alright? So, we've proven that diagram it can be less answer, okay? Which plant is taller? Well, the yellow plant, the red plant is going to be taller until 7 days. Red is bigger than yellow until 7 days in. Sorry, until T7, term 7, which is 6 weeks of growth. Okay, thank you. Give some reasons why the growth suggested in the graph may be unreliable. Well, do you know when you grow up as a kid, you go like you went from 12 to 15, you grow like you grow in spurts. So then by the time you reach age 18, you pretty much don't grow at all. So what I'm trying to say is that there's no guarantee that the plant will continue to grow upwards after a while. It might grow upwards a little bit and then it just might stop. So that's why it might be unreliable. Okay.